All right, guys, welcome to another info. Well, it's not an info session, actually. We're trying something new with Veronica. Introduce yourself, Veronica, to everybody.
Hi guys, I'm Veronica Navarette,
All right. So
the
today
other
we're
child
gonna
welfare professionals.
exactly. So today we're not doing an info session. Today's a child for professional chat that we're doing, and we've been looking at our groups and our Instagram. We see there's a lot of conversation that are taking place via posts, and we think that they are conversation worthy. So, and these are a few things that these are our personal views on things, right? Being that we've been in the field for a long time, and we thought we wanted to just
Mhm.
have a conversation about it and share with you guys, and also hit us back with any feedback or comment that you guys might have as well. So I'll let Veronica tell us the things that we're going to be talking about today.
The first being shadowing. The second one we'll talk about giving advice to a friend,
Yeah, yeah.
professional. We're gonna discuss being open-minded, a lot of growth, development, and opportunities.
All right. So shadowing, I'll share my experience. As a when I first started, shadowing was pivotal to me to be successful, right? I was nervous as hell, right? You're going out in the car with another worker, and you're watching how they're engaging. Like, am I ever going to be able to do all these things, right? Because the worker was taking notes, was asking questions, good questions, and they were also making the family feel comfortable to engage. And with me, I knew that was something that I need to work on. So as I was listening to this person, I was like, man, I gotta talk to you. Like, how do you do all these things? So
Right.
every opportunity you could get um, when you first start for shadowing, please, use it. I mean, I don't know about you, Veronica. What experience you've had with shadowing?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. For me, I was like, how am I gonna do all that? It looks, they make it look so effortless.
Right.
And I knew it was going to take me a lot of time to, be at that stage as well. For me, I think it was taking notes and really watching what everyone was doing and then using opportunities to ask questions. So I asked a whole bunch of questions,
Right.
but I helped me in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, with me, I was just nervous. Like, I had the questions in my
Yeah.
mind. And then, at one point, I remember like the worker that I went out with, he was like, "Do you have anything to say, Val?" I was like, "No, no, no." Like, he just put me on the spot. I was like, "Shoot,
Oh
I had
no.
nothing to say." So I think shadowing, guys, when you first started as a child care professional, you want to use that opportunity. If your agency is providing it, use it, right, to really learn how to do the job, how to properly serve the family and make those safety assessment, right? And keep your
Yes, that's
sanity.
definite.
All right. So our next one is advice to a friend from a child for professional. So I got tons. So do you want me to go or you want to go, Veronica?
Yeah, you could go ahead. Let me
All
hear
right.
what you.
So with me, for example, as working in the field, a lot of times, one thing I want to say is if anyone could get a case, right? That doesn't make you a bad parent, a bad person, right?
Yeah,
Child protective services could knock on anyone's door who has a child, right? I mean, not
I
anyone,
could get a
who
case.
has a child, right? You got to have a child first. That's the requirement. So a child as a minor. Yeah, let me add that to it.
Yeah,
One advice that they actually had a case and they were asking like, what do I do? And the case came in. It was a supervision case where the child was their baby was found outside. Right, it was pretty serious, but they were very nervous about it. And I think if child protective service ever knock on your door, you want to be as honest as possible, right? Because remember, they're there to just make an assessment, right? And I think we've all heard, child protective services, they're baby snatchers. No, that's number one. That's not. And I don't. And I think and I could speak. And Veronica, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of times that's the last thing we want to do because we know the trauma that
yes.
comes with that, right? We know the paperwork that comes with that. Number one. So we try to avoid that as much as we can while
Correct.
making sure that the child is safe. So I think to me, one advice I want to give is be as honest as you can with the parent. And also when they give you those documents, read them thoroughly, right? Before you sign something, read it and ask them questions. Because you might be under a lot of pressure at that time. And it's okay to tell the worker, like, slow down, man. Like, you're giving me a lot of information right now.
Correct.
This is my baby we're talking about. Slow down. I think that's one advice that I told them is to read the documents before you sign them. Take your time, and just remember that they're there to just make sure that the child is safe. That's about it,
Yeah.
right? What about
Yeah.
you?
I think if you definitely don't understand also what they're saying, it's okay to say, can you please explain this to me again, or explain it to me in a different way? I don't understand. But I would say communication is definitely very big. So when it comes, so as long as you have that open communication, I think, it'll be easier to work through.
Right, right. And also, good point. And you know, they would come, and I was explaining to my friend is that they're gonna come back to your house again, right? They're gonna come a first time, right? To
Yeah.
ask you what happened, but they might have to come back to your house again and I'll call you. So make sure that you're communicating with them because they understand, you know, they know that you work, right? So they're gonna know they're not gonna actually take time off to meet. They're gonna work with your schedule. So you always want to be available and try to work things out to give them the information that they need, right? So
agree.
our next one that we have is to be as a childcare professional is to be open-minded, right? Open-minded, that you know, that's a big word, right?
Yeah.
It's open-minded as a childcare professional. So open-minded is kind of like, you know, as when you first, you know, when I first started, right, I had to kind of to remember that not everyone live the way I live, right?
Oh, yeah, that was big.
You have to remember that, right? You have to remember your goal, your job is to make sure the child is safe, right? Not everyone disciplined, especially understanding different cultures, right? And you know, different states have different populations. You have to understand their culture, some of their norms when it comes to how they see fit to raise their child. To me, it was a culture shock because you know, I also tunnel vision into one way of living, right? I wasn't exposed to a lot of other cultures other than
Yeah, I think
mine.
I was a lot like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So going out to these homes, you know, I had to learn like, oh wow, okay, so you guys do this or this how you discipline your child. You know, I had to kind of like, okay, slow down, Val. We here to assess child safety. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, it goes back to even when you were talking about your friend and giving advice. I think some of the advice that you were giving your friend, I had to do for myself because I
Right.
had to, okay, when I was talking with those families, um, saying, hey, well, can you explain this to me? Or what does that look like? Just so I could understand the difference. So, you know, everyone has a different, everyone's decision of standards is
Right.
different. So
Right.
my standard is different from your standard and
Right.
the next person next to me. And that's okay. So it's just about knowing and, you know, everyone's standard and what their culture entails.
Right. And, you know, an open-minded, one thing too, is a lot of times, you know, we all get into this field to help families, right? To help families. So you have to be open-minded. You have to think outside the box,
Yes.
right? Think outside the box
Creative.
and how what it is that we could do differently to, you know, to make sure that we don't have to come back to the house anymore. Because trust me, you know, just like we don't, it's not a joy to go out to a home. We don't want to do that, right? So we always trying to find ways to be creative, right? To make sure that, you know, whatever is the concern is being addressed, right? Safely and in a way that is, you know, that is, well, safety, period, right? So our next one is I like that one is growth opportunities, right?
Yeah, I like this one.
I'll let you chime on that before I take over this conversation on that one.
Yeah, so with growth opportunities, I really love this one because I don't think everyone understands the vast amount of child welfare professionals that we have and how many organizations entail child welfare
Right.
professionals as a whole. So just for me, I think what stands out is development and really looking for those opportunities to continue to grow in your agency, whether that's ongoing training or if they offer a leadership program. I was really lucky in my agency that there is a leadership program and I was able to apply and get into the leadership program.
Congratulations.
And, yeah, thank you. And it's given me a lot of tools that I can put on my tool belt. So I think that's awesome if your agency offers opportunities to get on that wagon and definitely try to join them. And if your agency doesn't, then that's a new topic that you could talk about with your agency, looking for where you can implement that.
Right. So for me, growth opportunity, one advice I want to give is, and I'm glad that I was able to get my master at a much younger time in my life. If you have your bachelor's degree, I would definitely say I'm an old guy, Veronica. If you have
You
your
know, look out.
bachelor's, if you have your bachelor's degree, I would definitely say try to go and get your master's. And a lot of times, most agencies would probably pay for you or give you a waiver. And I know some agencies, what they do is they don't give you a waiver or pay your tuition, but once you've earned that master's degree while working there, there'll be an increase in your pay, right?
Wow,
So
that's
all
great.
right, yeah. So all these things are different research you want to do, and expanding your knowledge. You know, like Veronica said, child for professional. There's a lot of field out there, and a lot of times folks think, you know, you started off as a, you know, frontline child protective services, but there's a slew of different opportunities you could take. You know, whether it's working in a hospital setting, whether it's working in the quality assurance, whether it's training, whether it's
Schools.
community outreach, working in schools. So all these things are different path you could take, right? It's not like a dead end career. That's one thing I'll tell you. It's not a dead end career, right? It's not a 9 to 5 job. We all know that, right? But it's not a dead end.
You definitely have to have passion.
Right.
You gotta love it.
It's not a dead end career. When it comes to being a child care professional, like Veronica said, you know, try to capitalize on all the different training opportunities. And if they don't have it, I mean, we have the internet, right? I mean, you could, there's a slew of information out there, training that you could take on your own, and most of them are free, right? And I know some agencies actually reimburse their employees. If you find a training that you want to attend, they would reimburse you for that. So all these things are knowledge that you're going to get that's going to help you to grow professionally and also serve the families, right? To serve those folks that we're looking to help better parent their child or whatever it may be.
Yeah. You know what I really also love, real quick, the exposure you get. So, you know, just being a child welfare professional exposes you to all those paths at one time or another.
Right.
Cool.
Right. I mean, because if you think about it, when you say exposure, we work with law enforcement, we work with the schools, we work with state attorney's office, we work with the medical professionals. All of those different connections are learning opportunities, right? For you to better yourself and also grow professionally. Well, guys, I'm Val, your fellow child care professional, and let's stay connected.